a little bit tired. Are you
I was up
tired?
I was up early this morning, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll go live on Facebook if we can.
Bueno, me gusta hablar
Hmm.
contigo. Mucho, mucho.
Almost there.
See you, muchacho.
Hi, Andres. Andres Sainz.
Oh, Andres Felipe, he has his normal name today. He's not on,
Nos vemos, sí, te
not
Aaron Jacobo.
Jacobo, not Aaron Jacobo.
Yeah, teacher. Sorry about that.
What? That's good.
veo.
We like to know it's really you.
Sorry.
Okay.
Teacher. Sorry, I was watching a video and I listened Aaron Jacobo. So I guess that was because
Yes, I
I
think that
wasn't had class.
Okay, no problem. No problem. Okay, we're almost there. I don't know what Facebook is doing, but let's see, dismiss, go live. Let's see if that did it. Oh yeah, add a title. Unbelievable. All right, I'm going to try this again. Are you all still there?
Teacher, I have a question.
I think the teacher is not here.
Well, yeah, probably he's disconnected.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, I'm back again. I'm going to have to use bad words again. Jeez. Everybody hear me okay?
Yes, teacher.
Yes, teacher.
All right, I'm going to start recording. Oh.
Teacher, I want to tell you something.
Okay.
You are not going to believe me, but when I said you that I thought when you said my name, I thought the reason that I thought the way, yep. I mean, I used wasn't had, but I wasn't sure, and I don't know why I said that. So I thought that I was wrong, and I searched in traductor, and I was right, but I never have been about this grammar. So I think it's a proof about your weight.
Okay, I don't understand exactly what you meant there, but I'm sorry. I'm trying to do like 3 different things at the same time and nothing is working very well. I
Yeah,
have
I'm
to,
not talking very well. Sorry.
no, it's my fault. I have to stop drinking when I'm in class. So let me try here. It's not letting me. Oh, I see. You know what?
Teacher,
So
Yeah.
it's me, Andres.
I know. I made you the host.
Yeah, I'm controlling this.
That's my problem. I finally figured out the problem is Andres Espinosa is the host. And
Yeah,
I don't
because
know.
Yes,
I
I
I
have
don't
saw
know how to
that.
fix that. I
host
don't know.
stop
Can you?
recording.
Yes.
I
Can
saw
you stop
that.
recording and give me the host back? Because
How
I
can
don't
I
have
do
any.
that?
I have no idea. Maybe try
Oh,
just leaving, and when you leave, give it to me. Or if it won't do that, yeah, try just. I don't know. Try
okay,
leaving, and it will say, "Do you want to give the host to somebody else?" And then just give it to me, and then leave and come back.
okay.
Thank you. Oh, I'm gonna start drinking.
I was thinking about that. Why Andres is our amphitryon?
Oh God.
So, okay.
So this is not working. Oh, there we go. All right, I'm back to being the host, and we are recording. That's good because we want to record how I screwed this screwed this up completely. Okay, now we're going to try to go live on Facebook. Oh. Sorry, I know this is painful. It's probably less painful than meat. I've been trying to get meat to work. Meat is not pretty. Meat is ugly, ugly, ugly. We fail. Add a title, okay. Oh, that's why I couldn't add a title. All right. All right, is everybody still here?
Yes.
Oh, good,
Yes,
thank you.
we
Thank
are.
you, God. I couldn't hear anything. I thought nobody was gonna answer me. If you guys ever wanna drive me crazy, just don't answer. So I don't think you're there and then I'll go crazy. All right, so here we are. I see that we have some new students, at least one. Wendy, are you a new student? Yes?
Yes, mister. I am here. I listen.
Welcome, Wendy. It's good to see you.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming. Sorry, we are a little disorganized here. I am not, as everyone will tell you, I am not the most organized teacher, but at least we have fun. Sadie, are you a new student? Sadie Jimeno.
Hello, teacher. Nice to
Hi,
meet you. How are you?
nice. Are you a new student?
I was on the like Wednesday.
Okay, so you were here earlier this week, Wednesday maybe. Okay, good,
And
good. So,
I am at that now in your class.
okay, good. Just for the new students, since we are at it, let me upload I've forgotten to do this before. See documents. I think I want downloads. Oh, this is probably not going to go well, but I'll do my best. What did we call those files? What was? We called it independent learning. Oh, boy. Sorry, folks. I'm trying to find the PowerPoint files.
Don't worry,
Actually,
teacher. I have a question.
okay,
Teacher,
go.
it's Michael. Can you hear me perfectly and clearly now?
Oh boy, we have a good connection today, huh?
Thank you so much.
You sound very good. Yes.
Thank you. That's because I'm drinking. But anyway, no, I'm kidding. I came to another place in order to prove it's the problem is my cell phone probably or my
Ah,
internet connection.
I
And probably
see.
it's my internet connection. Yeah.
Okay. Good idea. Good idea to confirm that that's it. All right. Sorry, I'm still trying to find the files for the independent learning, and for some reason, I am not finding them. Still looking. If anybody has the files, I think it was version 7 of the independent learning. I think I sent them out in PDF. Would you, if you find them, would you upload them to chat for the new students? I am just not having good luck. I've looked in my computer. I've looked in downloads. I've looked in, oh, I didn't look on the desktop. Do I have them on the desktop? I do not. I do not. How about documents? These are documents. Ah, there it is. They're in documents. Advanced English, revision, oh, it wasn't revision 7, it was revision F. And here it comes. All right, so for new students, for Wendy, and I think Sadie, you may not have had this before. You should see in the chat window, I just uploaded a PDF file called Advanced English.
Sorry, teacher, some PDF abroad and where?
PDF file in the group chat, in the Zoom group chat, and you should be able to download it from there. It's called
Yes, I did.
Advanced English IL Revision F. And
Okay,
Marco
teacher.
and Mariana uploaded another one. Is that the same thing, guys? No, it's,
yes.
no, is
I
it?
don't know.
Oh, no, it looks different.
It's different.
Okay. What file is that? Okay, I'm downloading it now. I'll look at it.
Yes.
All right. I have it on my drive now. Okay. Hey, thank you everybody. Thank you everybody. Erica is here. Okay, Carmen.
Yes, I'm here.
Hi, Erica. Carmen, are you a new student?
Yes.
Welcome. So let me also, did you see the file upload that I made to, did you hear that or no? I'm uploading a file.
I can
Can you
hear you.
see it?
Yes.
Okay, good. If you will, you can look at that file later. It talks about the method that we use here and the method that I recommend that you use. Everybody here uses that method except Andres Felipe, because he's an expert and he doesn't need, he has a photographic memory. Everything that he sees, he remembers perfectly, so he doesn't need any memory help. And Valentina doesn't need any either.
No,
Here was
teacher,
the
don't say
method.
that.
Never
No.
say I need to.
What's the
Okay.
method about?
What's the file?
What's the method?
What's the method? You're going to experience the method right now.
Okay.
Okay. Also Christy R. Are you a new student?
Yes, I am.
Welcome, Christy.
Thank you.
Okay, so otherwise we have, Caddy Luyo. You are a new student, yes?
Yes.
Hi, Caddy. Okay,
Hi.
so Hi, can you see the method file that I uploaded in group chat, or do I need to upload it again? I can upload it again.
Yeah, yes, I apply because, I wasn't the beginner, but my English is a little bit more like intermediate.
Okay,
That's why.
then you're in a good place. You're in a good place. I hopefully
Thank you.
you will be happy here. So I'm going to upload this document again. Sorry, everyone, I am not very organized. Okay, so I uploaded it. It's called well, I uploaded a different version, but it's the same thing. Advanced English Independent Learning Revision F. Okay. So if you look at that later, or you can look at it now while we're practicing, but what I'd like you to do is listen as best you can, the new students, to try to understand a little of the method and the way that we try to make progress. And we do that by me sharing my screen, which I'm doing now. And we are working on a podcast. You will see a different podcast in the presentation in the file that I uploaded to you, okay? But don't worry about that because it's still in the same place. It's called This American Life, and there are hundreds of these podcasts for you to listen to. So you will always be able to find a podcast that interests you. Don't worry about that, okay? So I think I have everything working. Now let me make sure that my computer sound is shared, because that seems to always be our big problem, right? Okay, and we have no video clip today. We're just doing the audio. Okay, so I'm gonna start our last section. Okay. Well, yeah, I'm sorry, oh wait, did we do this section? Yeah, now we're going to do our last section, which is called Oslo, okay? And anybody online, what's Oslo?
The capital of...
The Norway capital.
Norway.
Right, city in Norway, capital, I believe capital of Norway. You guys are good. You know it's the capital. I would not have bet money on it being the capital, but okay. I don't know.
I was there, but not in Oslo. I was in Norway, but not in Oslo.
Oh, did you like Norway? Was it beautiful?
Actually, I've been working in a cruise line. That's why the ship was crossing Norway.
Ah, was it in the winter or the summer?
The ship I was working, no, it was winter time.
It was winter time. Winter time in Oslo.
Yeah.
How beautiful. Oh, yes. And nice suntan, nice brown skin, bikinis.
I don't think there exists any difference between winter and summer in Oslo. You know, like summer is like 4 degrees Celsius and winter is minus 37 or so.
Well, you may be right. You may be right, but there's one big difference. Even though it's cold, the sun is up about 20 hours a day at this time of year, I think, in Norway. I think they only have about 4 hours or 3 hours of nighttime.
Yeah.
I heard that.
Ooh, crazy. All right, so here we go. All the new students, please listen. What we're doing is working on this podcast. There is a transcript that I will have you follow along with, and I am sharing it with you. Can everyone see that transcript first?
Yes, teacher.
Good. Very good. Thank you. And I will start the audio now. If you have any problem hearing the audio, please tell me. But hopefully it will be correct. All right. So here we go.
Act 7. Oslo. Kirk thought maybe Long had been at the museum with Edwin that night. There was always a question as to how Edwin pulled this off on his own. Maybe Long had put him up to it in the first place. He pictured him being wealthy and manipulative.
Okay, just a quick stop. Pulled this off. What does that mean? If I pull something off, what am I doing?
Elaborated.
To do thing by himself.
Just, yes, just to do something. To pull this off means to do something. On his own means that he did it by himself. But pull this off means to do something, but it means to do something in even a more different way. And that is, it means to do something that it seems like you maybe could not do. Maybe it's very difficult. Maybe it's hard to do on your own as one person. Maybe it takes a long time. Maybe it's very expensive. Whatever it is, if you pull something off, you do something even though it was very difficult or probably you couldn't do it. Okay? So the sentence here is, there was always a question, okay? It's like there was always some question about why, how Edwin did this solo, on his own, only himself, right? Okay. Kirk, who for the new students is kind of an investigator. He's not really an investigator, but he's our hero here. He's finding the bad guys and trying to make them pay. Kirk pictured Long as being wealthy, which means rich, great deal of wealth, and manipulative. That means controlling Edwin as a pawn. What's a pawn?
It's a kind of servant or something like this, or slave.
Yeah.
Ajedrez.
Yeah, it's one of the pieces. The
Right.
first.
It's the
Is
littlest.
the same piece?
It's
Chess?
It's a small piece in chess. The small piece.
Ah, okay.
What do you call him in chess? In Spanish.
Peón.
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 Yeah,
In
peón.
English, the peon. Peon, not the important person, the least important person. Okay?
O sea, esa palabra se pronuncia peón.
No, this is pronounced pawn.
Pawn.
Yes, but the English equivalent of peon, or is it peon? Is it peon in Spanish? Peon?
Yes.
Yes, teacher. Peón.
Okay, the English equivalent of peon is peon, P-E-O-N, probably spelled the same way.
Sorry, what is huella?
What's that?
Huella, like marca de un gato, huella.
English,
There's-
please. Describe what you're trying to
But
say in English.
Print, I think.
Yeah,
Mark.
but
Pound is like a, for example, when you are in the, how can I say, in the
yeah,
street.
yeah, I
when you
understand.
pound.
But it's po. But I think it's po. But I think it's po.
Without the N.
Oh,
It's spelled without N.
Exactly, without N. That is, yeah.
Okay.
Paw is a
Okay,
different word. Paw is a completely different word. This is pawn.
Yeah, it's different.
It means a not very important piece in a game, right? Actually, the pawn can be very powerful, right? Can be the most important piece. But in this case, he's saying he sees, Kirk sees Long being very rich and using Edwin, the thief, as a pawn to manipulate him. Okay, so here we go.
Using Edwin as a pawn. And when Kirk's plane landed in Oslo, he was just about jumping out of his skin. He was so eager to talk with Long. He took a train out to a little suburb of the city. Long met him at the station. He was a teenage-looking 20-something with a big smile and Chuck Taylors.
What are Chuck Taylors?
Artist?
No. I've seen Chuck Taylors in Colombia. I know you have Chuck Taylors. They might not be called Chuck Taylors. Chuck Taylors. Okay?
Yeah.
Teacher, is it
Look at the picture on the screen. Chuck Taylors. Old school basketball tennis shoes. Old school from the 1950s, 1960s, 1970s. These were originally popular. And then they came back retro. Everybody started wearing them again. Okay?
We call them Converse.
Converse, yes.
Okay, Converse is the name of the company that makes Chuck Taylors, and they make other models of tennis shoes too. This is a model. This is one model of Converse sneakers called Chuck Taylors.
Oh, I didn't know.
Okay, these are Chuck Taylor low tops. You see these here, the black ones that I have expanded. These are Chuck Taylor low tops. These, the blue, this is Chuck Taylor high tops because they come high above the ankle, above your ankle bone. These are low tops below the ankle bone. You see this curve is cut out for the ankle bone. Okay?
Okay, but Chuck Taylor is the company or is the shoes?
Converse is the company. Chuck Taylor is the model. There's different models of shoes. Okay?
Entonces no podríamos decir que
here we go.
Miraculously convinced him to do the interview at his home.
Okay, I want you to listen.
Because I had this kind of fantastic
looking 20-something with a big smile and Chuck Taylors.
I had miraculously convinced him to do the interview at his home because I had this kind of fantastical notion that he would slip up and I would, find some partially exposed wing under the couch or.
What is slip up?
To do a mistake?
To make a mistake. Right. Not to do a mistake, but to make a mistake. You don't do a mistake, you make one. Okay?
Okay.
Very good. Absolutely perfect. To make a mistake. So Kirk had this kind of fantastical notion. It was a fantasy. It was just a dream that he would make a mistake, that Long would make a mistake, and Kirk would find the wing of the bird under his couch, which is a sofa. Okay?
Something like that, And
like a box of dead birds would come tumbling out of a closet.
yeah, when he was trying to reach for some sugar packets or something. So we walk into the apartment, and out of the corner of my eye, there's like this green flash just bombing towards my face, and it's his parrot that just was loose in the apartment and flapped over and landed on my shoulder, and spent most of I think that was like a 7-hour interview the first day, and it was an uncomfortable interview where I'm learning all of these things about his life, but also confronting him with stuff, and his bird is meanwhile like kind of nibbling on my earlobe. And
what's nibbling?
To bite?
Yes, but to bite very gently, not an aggressive bite, just a little bite, like Valentina nibbles her boyfriend's earlobe.
Smooth.
Right here. Right? You don't bite it, you just nibble a little bit. Okay?
Teacher, we can say the squirrel nibble?
Excuse me, one more time?
Is it right to say, for instance, squirrels nibble or bite? Squirrels or chipmunks?
Squirrels?
Squirrels, yes. Nibble or bite?
Squirrels don't nibble, I don't think, no. Yeah, squirrels bite.
Okay, but what kind of animal or thing nibble?
Oh, no,
For
no.
instance?
A lot of things nibble. Let's see, what else nibbles? A rabbit nibbles on its food. It nibbles, it just takes very small bites chum, 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 of the vegetables, nibbles.
Or a hamster too.
A hamster, rodents in general, rodents nibble.
Okay,
Okay,
thank you.
here we go.
I hope I'm not being like a jerk or like I feel like the worst guest ever. Like,
Okay, so now listen to this. This is actually a recording in Long's apartment. So you get to hear the parrot and Long and everybody, okay? So I'll continue to play this, but listen.
asking you all these questions, but
no, but those are questions I.
And something else happened when Kirk walked into the apartment. All notions of Long being the rich, conniving mastermind of the Tring heist fell away. Long was from a family of Vietnamese refugees who had fled the war to Norway in the 70s. He started tying flies in a boys' home when he was a kid, basically as an escape.
Because things were turbulent in our family. I mean, yeah, I don't think about that now because it's like past, but things were bad and we had to do our best to just go through it with parents being in Vietnam and all the after the war and stuff.
Okay, so Long Nguyen is not a rich, manipulative guy. He's a poor Vietnamese refugee. Do you know what a refugee is?
Yes.
Refugiado, refugio, in Spanish.
Yeah, refugee. Try to think of words to say in English. Let's not use the Spanish. Okay? Think of a simple way to say it in English, which is, for example, what's an easy way or a different way to say a refugee?
To stay safe.
To stay safe, right?
People who is hiding from someone.
Hiding, that can be, you can be hiding from someone, that's right. So what we're saying here is that he had fled the war, okay, the Vietnam War. He had fled, that means to escape. Fled is the past tense of the word to flee, F-L-E-E, okay? So Long fled Vietnam, and he went to Norway in the 1970s during the war, okay? His parents, he said, stayed in Vietnam, but he, as a child, left Vietnam. His parents sent him away, and he went to Norway in the 1970s, where he started tying flies in a boys' home when he was a kid. A boys' home is typically what's an orphanage, a place for boys with no families, okay?
And Long said he never really had what he called true friends. And around that same time after he had started tying flies, he was reading about other fly tyers online. And he heard about this one kid in America who was exactly his age.
I think I started hearing about Edwin when I was 15 or 16.
Okay, you notice Long Nguyen is not a native English speaker. What mistake did he make in this first sentence? Anybody see it? Started, right. And this is typically what, in particularly Vietnamese and Asian people, the mistake that they make is because they have a different conjugation rule and they don't learn, they actually believe that there is such thing as grammar, And so they try to, but they can't conjugate the verb. So this is a very common error, okay? So he started hearing about Edwin when he was very young because Edwin was famous. Even then, Edwin was famous. Yes.
I have a question. The right pronunciation is start or start?
Well, the word here should be started, S-T-A-R-T-E-D. It should be the past tense. He said he started hearing about Edwin when he was 15 or 16 in the past. And it's pronounced started. Started.
Okay.
Started.
I mean, sometimes the ed don't sound, just
That's
a
right.
t.
But when does it sound?
But in
We've talked about this before.
ed,
When does it sound? Why does the E sound this time?
Because the word.
I have
Because
no
of the
idea.
T?
Because the last
Right. Because the word start ends in T, a hard consonant. And if it didn't,
Okay.
we would say start and we would have to put a D on it. And how do we do that? It's not possible. Start.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Thanks, teacher.
when the word ends in a T, and also many times when it ends in a D or another hard consonant, that's when we include the E. Okay, here we go.
Okay.
Teacher,
Yes.
because, well, I know that you don't like, sorry. No, I know that you don't like talking about, okay, there's no spoon, but there is something very useful for me, or it was very useful for pronouncing simple past, and is that ed sounds ed after t sound t or the most of the time. So that's something that is very useful for me. Probably it could be useful for the others.
Well, that's why we just talked about it.
Yeah,
Yes.
I understood equally.
Right. But
thanks.
yes, but better to have it be automatic so that even if you don't know why, you have seen and pronounced 1,000 times words that end in T so that your brain knows automatically. Because the problem isn't with words like start, right? You're automatically, when you see S-T-A-R-T-E-D, you're automatically going to say started because you don't have any choice, right?
Teacher, but I have listened started,
Yeah,
not
got it.
started, but it's
more fluent.
Well, that's a different question. Whether you say started or started, right? That's a compression thing, and that gets into pronunciation, and we could spend a lot of time trying to fix pronunciation, and that's why I'm telling you, except for things that are really bad, where I will point out to you if you're making a big mistake, don't worry about small pronunciation elements, okay? Now you do have to worry about whether or not you pronounce the E in started or in another word that you do or you do not pronounce the ED. But I don't want you will not be able to, in a conversation, say, oh, here comes a word that ends in D. This means I have to put ED. No, you will not be able to do that. If you're actually speaking real words, you don't have time to do that. It has to be automatic. Okay? So you will hear some people say, for example, English people, British people will say started, and for started. North American people will say started, and you'll never hear the T. It will be started.
Oh, okay.
English people, British people, you will always hear the T because because of the way they drop the R. They say S-T-A-T-E-D. They don't say start. They say stot. They swallow the R and they never pronounce the R, so they say stot. Okay? Now there's no way to say this, the D. If you say stard, now that just sounds terrible. The only way you can swallow the A is to use the T. And that starts to become complicated. And then we have to start talking about your tongue position and your mouth position and why you have, no, you will never be able to learn all the possible positions by putting it in a function where you think, okay, here comes something with a consonant ending and a vowel after it, and so, no. Just learn 1,000 words and you will know when to say it.
Teacher, a question about that.
Okay, hold on, one at a
I
time.
have another.
Okay,
go
one
ahead,
second.
and then
Go.
I'll continue.
Okay, finish, Andres.
Who start? I? Okay. Me? Sorry.
Andres,
Teacher,
we have a little problem with
there
your
is a
connection.
problem. Sorry, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. There is a problem if I listened American accent and read about my pronunciation, or no way?
No, it's fine. It's fine. I would encourage you, if you are interested, to listen to both British and American pronunciation, because you will hear it. What eventually, when you understand more, you will be able to speak more. Right now, it's very difficult for you to speak and say very long, complex sentences because you don't yet have enough knowledge of the construction, because you don't have enough sentences memorized. You don't have enough structures memorized, right? So don't worry about it. Just try to expose yourself to everything you can, so that when you hear it, you understand it and you go, oh yes, I've heard that word before. That sounds different because it's in a British accent, but I know that word because I listened to that podcast and we talked about that, or I read that book and I saw that word. And you will find out that if you do a lot of reading, then later when you do some pronunciation and you speak, you will find out that some of the words you have in your head are not right. Right?
Okay.
The pronunciation of them is not right, just because you've been thinking of them in your head. And that's when you will start to learn your own pronunciation, and you'll decide whether you want to have a British accent or whether you want to have a North American accent. Maybe you're going to have a girlfriend that likes Brits, so you're going to want to have a British accent so you can impress her.
I don't think so, but yeah.
It's possible.
Yeah, or when you start to work with different people, for example, Irish people talks really difficult, and Australian people, the accent is difficult too.
Yes, there are many variants of English that are quite difficult to understand, including, as Julian says, Australian is not as difficult for a native, but it's even difficult for a native. Not just because of their accent, which is quite British, but because they use completely different words. And then Irish and Scottish, Ireland and Scotland, are very difficult also. Michael, you had a question or a comment.
Yes, teacher. Is there any difference between pronouncing the verb start plus the pronoun it and the verb start in simple past?
Okay, so wait, you're asking a grammar question of me?
No. It's a pronouncing question, teacher. No grammar. There is no spoon.
Okay, so I'm sorry. All I heard was simple past, and my brain just said, ah! So what's the question again?
Okay. Easier. Okay, is there any difference between pronouncing a start plus the pronoun it and the pronunciation of a start with ed at the end?
Oh, so you mean, is there a difference between the sentence fragment start it, S-T-A-R-T space I-T, and the use of just the past tense, simple past of started?
Yes,
Is that your
teacher,
question?
but there is no spoon.
Agreed. Yes, there is a difference. Listen to the difference. Tell me which one. I'll say the two, and you tell me which one I said first and second. Okay?
Okay.
Go out to the car and start it. Go out to the car and start it. Start
the
it.
verb and the pronoun. In contest, I understand in contest, of course. Start and the pronoun it.
No, hold on. I'm giving you two examples, and then I'm going to put them next to each other for you to tell me the difference. Okay, so first is go out to the car and start it. Start it. Okay, now Edwin started tying flies. Edwin started tying flies. Okay, so start it and started. Start it, started. Start it, started.
Yes, teacher. They are quite similar, but they are different.
Well, the starred part is the same, I believe. The difference is the end of IT versus ED. I'm really saying start it, and you can hear the T when I say start it. Start the car, start it. You cannot hear the T if I say he started tying flies. Then it's a D, started.
Okay,
but
teacher,
the start part is the same. Good?
Yes, teacher, thanks.
You bet. Okay, continue.
He was really famous back then.
Long looked up to Edwin. They met online first, just writing back and forth. They had a ton in common, so they decided to meet. That Japan trip was the first time they saw each other in person. They tied flies together there. Edwin had already stolen the birds at that point, but he hadn't been caught yet.
And, he's telling me that Edwin reached out to him to ask him to help sell these things, but just as a friend. He just said, hey, I found these things. Can you post these things online for me? And Long thought that was what being a friend was. He thought he was going to help Edwin make enough money to buy his new flute, and he also felt really flattered and honored that Edwin Rist was paying attention to him.
Long told Kirk he mostly just reposted some of Edwin's ads, including pictures of birds. But it is true that Edwin sent him a bunch of pre-sorted packets of feathers and 3 or 4 whole bird skins to sell. And Long did sell some of them. Long says he didn't know any of it was stolen at the time, which Edwin confirms. Edwin made up stories about where the birds came from. And Long never stopped to think how implausible they were. Partly because he was blinded by his love of the birds, but also probably he was blinded by his infatuation for Edwin. Looking back, Long says Edwin was probably just trying to attract less attention to himself.
My assumption is just like he wanted to erase his traces, but the traces are already there, so I don't know why.
But he's using you as a friend. Like
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm like? It's not a nice thing.
No, it's absolutely not. And I had like a tough decision about how to deal this friendship. At that time, I think when he get exposed, I was really shocked. I was frozen.
Where's the mistake there?
At that time, I thought.
I think the same.
When he got.
There it is. When he got exposed. He's talking about the past, and he's saying at that time in the past, when Edwin got exposed, I was really shocked. Good.
For him, because people, they assume that I was the one responsible for everything. I was like considering if I should turn my back, because it's reasonable for me to erase this friendship, and you know, like you can't do this to friends.
It made me like really upset with Edwin. I don't know how you look at this chain of events and see them as equals. I don't know how you look at the chain of events and see this as anything other than Edwin using him as a fence to potentially take the fall for him if things got, hairy.
All right, this is quite a sentence. I don't know how you look at the chain of events and see this as anything other than Edwin using him, Long, as a fence to potentially take the fall for him if things got hairy. All right, so this is quite a sentence. First of all, what does it mean that things got hairy? What does it mean if things get hairy?
Things get difficult? Like
Yes, difficult,
or dangerous?
complicated, dangerous, all of those things. Right. If things become problematic, if things don't go the way you expect them to go, then they get hairy. It can be for legal reasons, right? It can be for dangerous reasons because your life is at risk. It can be a lot of different things, getting hairy. Okay, let's take the fall. Take the fall for him.
Take the responsibility.
Right, right. Take the responsibility. Be the guilty party. Be the guilty person if things got bad, right? So that if the police started going after him, he could say, "I don't have these birds," right? Some other guy does. Let him take the fall. Take the fall means go down, fall off the cliff, go to jail, pay money, whatever. That's called taking the fall, okay? And even more important, you take the fall usually for somebody else. Usually you're taking the responsibility for some other person because they dumped it on you because they escaped the fall. Okay? What's a fence? Edwin used him as a fence.
A barrier?
Yes.
No.
Structure.
Let's think about what he might do. What did Edwin do? He gave Long, or sold him, whatever the situation was, a bunch of birds and bird feathers to sell. Illegal bird feathers to sell for money. That's a fence. A fence is someone who sells illegal property. Okay? So if I'm a fence and you steal, go ahead.
Can you repeat again what mean using him as a fence? I don't have very clear about this expression.
A fence is somebody who sells stolen property. So for example, okay, let's say for example, you steal 10 cars, okay? Would you steal 10 cars? Never, right? But let's say you did. Let's say Wendy steals 10 cars. Okay, that was you, Wendy, right? That's you're the questioner.
Sorry, teacher. Again.
Are you asking the question? Is this Wendy?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Okay, so Wendy, you steal 10 cars, okay?
Okay.
But you don't have the connections to sell 10 cars, right? So you use what's called a fence. Now, the the place that the word fence comes from is actually, I forget who said it, was a barrier, right? A fence is actually a barrier, isn't it? So one way to look at a fence is a barrier between the police and the person that stole the property. Okay, so yes, one way to look at it is a barrier, but that's just where it comes from. Now, Wendy, you bring me these 10 cars, right? And I say to you, okay, I will give you $5,000 for each car, okay?
Okay.
And you just leave the cars with me and I will sell them, all right? So I give you, Wendy, $50,000, $5,000 times 10 cars, and I illegally sell those cars to people for $10,000 each, and I make $100,000. So I make $50,000 profit. I double my money.
Okay.
Okay?
I got it.
That's
Teacher,
how fences make money. They sell stolen property at high margins. It's called a margin. They give you a little bit so you have the money for stealing your cars, but then they sell them for more money. And they take the risk, right, of taking a fall.
Okay, I got it. I got it.
Teacher,
Thank you,
Teacher.
teacher.
pen is the action or the person who sells the stole things?
I'm sorry, is what?
Pen is the action or the person?
It's both. You could fence stolen property, that means to sell illegal stolen property, or you can be a fence, and that is a person who sells stolen property, yes.
So it's right if we use the two options.
It's both a noun and a verb. If there was such thing as grammar, it would be both a noun and a verb.
Ah, okay, okay.
Okay?
Okay.
Here we go. Here we go.
Sitting with Long, Kirk ultimately turned to the question of where the missing birds were. But instead of just asking him outright, he eased into the subject with that kind of Columbo, just one more question, gentle persistence. Meanwhile, Long sometimes sounded like a disgraced banker at a congressional hearing, saying he couldn't remember things that seemed basic. For instance, Kirk asked him whether the customers paid Edwin directly or if Long had handled any of the money.
I don't remember if I received the money or if the money went to him, but
You would remember, right? I mean, I'm not trying to be an asshole, but you would remember if people like these things were selling for thousands of dollars. Like, don't you think you would remember?
I don't think I sold things for thousands of dollars. What I remember most is selling small amounts, like packages of feathers.
I don't want to be rude, but like there's another point where I'm like, I'm really just...
Yeah, I understand because I spent like 4 years to try to forget all this.
Yeah.
Yeah, so what you're doing is like try to bring up all in the surface, and so the details is quite unclear to myself.
Okay, just a quick one. He says, so what are you doing? Okay? He uses a question construction. We've been doing a lot of questions, right? That's a question. What are you doing? Right? Because the verb comes first. This is actually a statement. How should this sentence actually be said to be a statement?
So what you are doing.
What
Correct.
you're doing.
Exactly. He should be saying, so what you are doing, it's like trying to bring up all in the surface. So what we can see here is that Long is getting upset. He's emotionally upset. And when he gets emotionally upset, he loses his ability to speak correct English. You can tell this, right? You can hear it in his voice. He cannot create a good sentence anymore. Okay, I'll rewind this just a little bit so you can hear it. Just a little bit.
Sounds like packages of feathers.
I don't want to be rude, but like there's another point where I'm like, I'm really just...
Yeah, I understand because I spent like 4 years to try to forget all this.
Yeah.
Yeah, so what you're doing is like try to bring up all in the surface, and so the details is quite unclear to myself because I'm trying to close this case.
Okay, so what he should have said here is, so what you are doing, it's like trying to bring it all up to the surface, not in the surface. You're not in a surface, you're to the surface. So the details, plural, are quite unclear to me, not myself, because I was or I am trying to close this case, okay? But he's so upset he can't say it.
Teacher, I think he feels frightened
You and me
by
both, buddy.
Kirk.
There
I
are
don't want to
still
be
a lot
rude
of...
on
That's
that
right.
kind of thing.
That's exactly right. He's scared. He's frightened. You're exactly right.
Yeah, sorry.
No, you're good. Here we go.
Yeah, so what you're doing is like try to bring up all in the surface, and so the details is quite unclear to myself because I'm trying to close this case.
Yeah, Kirk thought to himself. You and me both, buddy.
There are still a lot of skins that are missing.
Yeah.
Like a lot.
Yeah.
And
I don't have any skins. Many people would probably think that I possess those skins.
Why?
Because I was so close related to Edwin. That would be a natural thing to assume.
It would be very logical, like it would be reasonable for them to think that, no?
Yeah.
So I guess
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. If that's not true, then how can we prove that that's not true?
I can prove it.
You can or you can't?
Can't.
Where do you think, then the question B is, where are they?
I don't know.
How is that possible? How do you not know? Like, you know, like, I mean, you and Ed...
I know what Ed, I don't know where, because a tiny part was sold through me. Like, you can't, like, ask for a receipt for me, not having skins.
Kirk left Long's apartment feeling bad for him, but also frustrated. It still seemed like maybe he was holding something back, and he didn't know if he would ever see Long again. But then, the next morning, Long was waiting for Kirk in the lobby of his hotel. He told Kirk he had been thinking and decided to quit tying flies with exotic bird feathers. He was afraid, though, that he'd lose the few friends he still had. He said they only liked him because he tied beautiful flies. Kirk and Long spent the next 2 days hanging out. They walked around the city together, mostly sightseeing. At one point, they met up on the steps of the National Gallery, where Munch's painting The Scream was stolen in 1994 by thieves who broke through a window.
And I just decided, like, screw it. I'm gonna just do one more attack on his defenses here and see if I can get him to admit anything.
I heard from like 2 separate people that, like, in the last year you've told them that you have so much Indian crow and you don't have any need for it, and so, like, what am I supposed to do with that? Like, when
you do whatever you...
But is it true?
Yeah.
That you have a lot of Indian crow?
No, I have like still have some of the packages of the ones I was supposed to sell.
Okay.
Long kept those packages he was supposed to sell for himself after Edwin was arrested. He sent back the bird skins, but he kept the feathers.
And I was like, okay, like, this is, now we're getting somewhere.
Like, how many?
And he was just miserable under this line of questioning. But he finally estimated that he had between 600 and 800 of these feathers from Edwin.
But 800 is a lot of feathers.
Yeah, I know.
And he didn't have that many anymore. He had sold half of them, again, back before he knew they were stolen, and kept the rest, which he had been tying with ever since. He was now down to about 100 feathers. Kirk says Long also admitted that the number of birds Edwin sent him was more like 10 or 20 rather than just a few. We check this with Long, and he refutes it. In any case, Kirk finally felt like he was closing in on what he'd been after. Obviously, he had no real standing to be asking any of these questions or making demands. He wasn't the police, he didn't work for the museum, but he had been on this case so doggedly for so long.
I was like, Long, you have to show me these things, right? And he kind of very quietly said yes. And then he started crying, and he
started crying?
Yeah, and he told me he's never told anyone about this, that not even his family knows about this, like that he's never admitted this to anyone. And I saw someone who was really struggling with his actions, and in a way that I hadn't seen with Edwin. That there were no tears in the Edwin interview. There were no, there was a kind of he thought it was just as crazy as I did, this whole story attitude,
So not only are you getting a better accounting of their co-involvement and the number of birds that were involved, but also there's something else that you've been looking for, which is like contrition, kind of.
Yeah.
Kirk and Long took the train back to Long's apartment, where Long dipped in and fetched his binder of feathers, sort of like a stamp book with little pockets. They brought it to a local bar, ordered a couple of beers, and opened it.
Can I take pictures?
Sure.
I want to ask you just what's what kind of.
And 4 years after he had first heard about the heist, Kirk had them in his hands. Feathers that no one else knew about that Edwin Rist had stolen from the Tring Museum. It was the first time he had seen stolen Tring Museum feathers in the wild, fugitive feathers. Kirk says holding that binder, he felt a straight line back to Wallace. Wallace, who wrote, "All living things were not made for man." Still, Wallace probably never pictured two guys poring over the detached feathers of his birds in a bar in suburban Oslo.
So this is these are Tring, and this is...
This is Tring. This is not Tring.
Okay.
This is Tring.
And these are, okay, so there's
Should we just count only the Tring first, and then I'll tell about everything?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10, 11,
I just
12,
remember very clearly
14,
having two thoughts. One was,
16,
here they are,
17,
I found them.
18.
And how can you tell so quickly which ones are Tring?
Wait.
Okay, sorry. You're at 40 there.
40?
Mm-hmm.
1.
And then at the same time, recognizing just how pathetic it all was and how small it all was. There wasn't a box of missing birds. There were no labels. These things, I knew what would happen. They're just plucked, harvested feathers from 150-year-old birds that will never be returned to their, you can't reattach them to a bird, you can't do anything with them.
Yeah.
And so it was this complicated moment where I was really kind of proud, but also a little embarrassed, because I was like, there's nothing really triumphant about this moment.
Kirk told Long he thought Long should send the feathers back to the museum, partly because it might help Long put the whole ugly business behind him. Long agreed. It took him a few months, but he finally stuffed them all into an envelope with no return address. Kirk learned of 2 other full bird skins that definitively came from the Tring. The buyer lives in South Africa and has no interest in sending them back. About 20 others belonging to a guy in Montreal look like possible Tring birds, but he's resold them already. And say Long sold 10 more of them, that would bring the total number of birds unaccounted for down to 32. Which means A, there's just no way to find out what happened to all of them anymore. And B, Edwin is not the only fly tyer in the world who felt okay about knowingly owning stolen property.
Anyone who bought anything from him should send it back to the museum, in whatever shape it's in.
But what would come of them sending back parts of birds or feathers or whatever?
Nothing.
Nothing.
No scientific value. I mean, maybe someone will figure out down the line how to figure out which feather came from which bird, but it would just be a moral victory. Honestly,
a moral victory.
Yeah, I mean, it's not there, and I'm fully aware of that. Like, they're not going to be used, but they don't belong to this community. They belong to that museum, and the end of this should be everyone just return things that they know are stolen, even if it's 2 feathers, and they can walk around with their head a little bit higher. And maybe that's just so stupid of me for suggesting this, but if the choice is between them returning it and them getting to keep it, that seems easy to me.
But Kirk finally decided to let go of this case. He realized that he had become just as obsessive as Edwin about the birds, and as obsessive as Wallace for that matter. All 3 men, for completely different reasons, spent years fixating over the very same birds. Not the same species, the same physical animals. Wallace wanted knowledge. Edwin saw a lot of beautiful colors, and yes, dollar signs. And Kirk, though he knows how loony this sounds, wanted to avenge the birds. As a last-ditch effort, and with the museum's knowledge, he went on the main fly tying forum and said that the Tring was ready to accept any anonymous returns, no questions asked. He said, "As much as I would personally like to know who might be in possession of any of the missing skins, it is much more important that they be returned. And I have included the museum's address below for anyone who is so inclined." I don't mean to lecture, and imagine that some of you might be annoyed by this point, but I am challenging you to help remove this cloud that hangs over your hobby. Simply deleting any reference to what happened at the Tring doesn't seem like the best way of coming to terms with it. And then, more than 40 members of the fly tying community asked the moderator of the forum to delete Kirk's post. And like so many other things in this story, it disappeared. Kirk Johnson wrote an excellent book about the museum heist, which was the basis for this story. It has lots of details that we weren't able to get into on the radio. It's called The Feather Thief, Beauty, Obsession, and the Natural History Heist of the Century.
Okay, I know that was a lot. Thank you, everybody, for being patient. Okay.
Okay, teacher.
Okay, so let's knock out some sentences. Let's do some sentences. The new people, listen, please, to the structure of how we do this. We don't have as much time today because I did want to finish the story today. Before we start any sentences, any big questions? Does everybody understand? The new students not, but does everybody understand what happened, basically? Okay, good.
Yes.
So here's the sentence. Yes. Some of you might be annoyed by this point, okay? Some of you might be annoyed by this point. So, Heido. Heido. Uh-oh, Heido fell asleep. Jimena.
Yes, teacher, I'm here.
Okay, Jairo is here too. Just a minute. Jairo, are you ready? Oh, Jairo might have a microphone problem. Okay, go Jimena.
Some of you might be annoyed by this point.
Okay, now here's a good example of when you don't say the E. Because now we say annoyed. Annoyed.
Yeah.
Okay. Some of you might be annoyed by this point.
Some of you might be annoyed by this point.
Who might be annoyed by this point?
Some of you.
Good.
Some of you
No,
or some of you do.
No. In this case, might be means you don't have to add a verb. You could repeat it and you could say some of you might, but you don't have to because I said might. So some of you, perfectly good.
Okay.
Because might be is not an action verb or a state of events or anything. It stands alone, okay? So might some of you be annoyed by this point? That's a yes, no question. Might some of you be annoyed by this point?
Yes, we might.
Okay, yes, we might, or yes, you might. Good. Might my father be annoyed by this point?
No, he might.
This is a hard one. This is a hard one. Because it's might, there are a number of words that you can choose from, okay? So I asked you, might my father be annoyed by this point? Okay, so I'm asking you basically if he would be. So the answer is really no, he wouldn't be, or no, he might not be.
Okay. No,
Either one.
he not might be.
He might not be.
He might not be.
Okay, so who might be annoyed by this point?
Some of you might be annoyed by this point.
Very good. Excellent. Angie, are you there?
Hello.
He went on the main fly tying forum. Go.
He went on the main flight time forum.
Where did he go?
To the main flight time forum.
He went on the main tying forum, not to.
Sorry. Okay.
Okay, where did he go?
On the main flight time forum.
Good. Did he go on the main fly tying forum?
Yes, he did.
Did he go on the main chess playing forum?
No, he didn't.
So where did he go?
He went on the main flight time forum.
Main fly tying forum.
Okay.
Good.
He went on the main flight time forum.
Good. Cynthia. Cynthia, you there?
Yep, I'm here.
Go please. Same sentence.
He went on the main flight time forum.
Good. Who went on the main fly tying forum?
When he went, no,
He did. He did. Very
He
good.
did.
Did he go on the main fly tying forum?
Yes, he did.
Did he go on the main chess playing forum?
No, he didn't.
So where did he go?
He went on the main flight time forum.
Good. Erica, are you there? Erica.
Yes, I am here.
Okay, the sentence please is Kirk wanted to avenge the birds. Kirk.
Kirk wanted to avenge the birds.
Good. Who wanted to avenge the birds?
Kurt.
Kirk what?
Kurt did.
Good. Did Kirk want to avenge the birds?
Yes, he did.
Did Angie want to avenge the birds?
No, she didn't.
Did Christy want to avenge the birds?
No, he didn't.
Did Jimena want to avenge the birds?
No, she didn't.
So who wanted to avenge the birds?
He wanted to avenge the birds.
Good. It's Felipe. Go. Kirk wanted to avenge the birds. Go.
Sure. Could you scroll up, please? Or scroll down.
Okay. Is that
Perfect.
better?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. Wanted to avenge the bird.
Have you been listening? Have you been listening to these sentences? Who wanted
No,
to avenge the birds? Kirk wanted to avenge the birds.
Searching something. How is Sloan? Please.
Okay, we need a subject. The subject is Kirk. Kirk wanted to avenge the birds.
Okay. Kirk wanted to avenge the birds.
Avenge.
Avenge. Okay. Kirk wanted to avenge the birds.
Good. Now say it again.
Teacher, scroll down, please.
I know it's not there. Say it again. Kirk wanted to avenge the birds.
It's real, teacher. I can't see.
Then you should listen to my voice and repeat what I say. This is not a complicated sentence. Kirk wanted to avenge the birds.
Kirk wanted to avenge the bird.
Who wanted to avenge the birds?
Kirk.
Kirk
Kirk
did.
did,
Yes.
sorry.
Not Kirk. Kirk.
Kirk
Did
did.
Did Kirk want to avenge the birds?
Yes, he did.
Did my mother want to avenge the birds?
No, he didn't.
My mother is a sheep.
She didn't. She didn't. Sorry.
So
Sorry,
who wanted
teacher.
to avenge the birds?
Kirk wanted avenge the bird.
All right, I'm going to let you buy with this today, but you are going to start working with Anki. You have to start learning these sentences, and you have to be able to say them and memorize them, okay?
Sure.
Sure, teacher. Sure. Okay, Julian, go. Kirk wanted to avenge the birds.
Kirk wanted to avenge the bird.
Who did Kirk, what did Kirk want to avenge?
The bird.
Did Kirk want to avenge the birds?
Yes, he did.
Did Kirk want to avenge the elephants?
No, he didn't.
So what did Kirk want to avenge? Oh, sorry. Yes, I'm sorry. What did Kirk want to avenge?
Kirk wanted to avenge the bird.
Okay, now I'll say the sentence, and I want you to ask the questions.
Okay.
Kirk wanted to avenge the labradoodles.
What
Okay,
did-
just for sanity, labradoodle, I've highlighted right here. It's a kind of dog. It's a combination between a Labrador and a poodle. It's called a labradoodle. So, Kirk wanted to avenge the labradoodle. The labradoodles. What's the question?
What Kirk wanted to avenge?
One more time. You're gonna need a helping verb.
Yeah. What did Kirk need? What did Kirk wanted to avenge?
If you use a helping verb, you don't decline the verb, the main verb.
Oh, sorry. What did Kirk want to avenge?
The labradoodles.
Did Kirk wanted to avenge the labradoodle?
Yes, he did.
Did Kirk wanted to avenge the bird?
Say that question again one more time, please.
Did Kirk want to avenge the bird?
No, he didn't.
So what did Kirk want to avenge?
Kirk wanted to avenge the labradoodles. Good. Valentina, the sentence is Julian wanted to avenge the labradoodles. Julian wanted to avenge the labradoodles. Go.
Julian wanted to avenge the labradoodles.
Good. Good.
Doodle?
Who wanted to avenge the labradoodles?
Julian did.
Did Julian want to avenge the labradoodles?
Yes, he did.
Did Julian want to avenge the elephants?
No, he didn't.
So what did Julian want to avenge?
Julian wanted to avenge the labradoodles.
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 Doodles.
Labradoodles.
Good. Okay, one more time. What did Julian want to avenge?
Julian wanted to avenge labradoodles.
Okay, good. Okay.
Can you write the words doodles?
It's right here. It's highlighted on the screen. Labradoodle.
Labradoodles. Labradoodles.
Okay. It's just a kind of dog. It's becoming a very popular dog. It's a strange thing. Okay, so Marco Mariana. The sentence is Valentina wanted to avenge the rabbits. Valentina wanted to avenge the rabbits. Go, Marco, and Mariana ask the questions.
Okay. Valentina want to avenge the rabbit.
Okay, one more time, and I want you to use the correct words and the correct tense.
Okay.
Valentina wanted to avenge the rabbits.
Valentina wanted to avenge the rabbit.
Beautiful.
Who wanted to avenge the rabbits?
Valentina did.
Did she wanted to avenge? Did she want to avenge the rabbits?
Yes, she did.
Did she want to avenge the dogs?
No, she didn't.
So who wanted to?
Rabbits and dogs.
So what she want?
What did?
What did she want to avenge?
Yes.
Valentina wanted to avenge the rabbits.
Switch.
Valentina wanted to avenge the rabbits.
Who wanted to avenge the rabbits?
Valentina did.
Did Valentina wanted to avenge the rabbits?
Yes.
One more time.
Did Valentina wanted?
Come on, you can do it.
Want to avenge the rabbit?
Yes, she did.
Did Valentina want to avenge the cat?
No, she didn't.
So, what did Valentina wanted to avenge?
Come on.
Okay. So, what did Valentina want to avenge?
Good.
Valentina wanted to avenge the rabbits.
Very good. Very, very good. Sentence. Kirk finally decided. Oh, first of all, what does avenge mean? What does avenge? I can't find it here. Where was it? Avenge. Avenge. What does that mean?
Similar.
Fight for a
cause. To make a punish or
revenge?
In a way, it's similar to the word revenge.
Yes.
Okay, but it's not exactly the same. Okay, let's see what Mr. Longman says about avenge. Okay.
Maybe make justice by your own.
Right. It's to provide justice. Okay. To do something, hurt or punish because they have harmed or offended you. So that's one possibility. It doesn't have to be you. You can also do it in the name of somebody else. In this case, he's avenging the birds for doing such bad things.
He wanted to avenge his brother's death.
Teacher, what is the difference between avenge and revenge?
Revenge is, well, let's see what Longman says about it. Does anybody have any guesses?
Yes. It's like
go ahead.
Avengers, teacher. Yes.
Okay. Go ahead. I think we have another
Very
similar.
Something planets and avenge not.
They're very similar. They're very similar, but I think that Longman is a little bit the way that I view it is avenge is more general, revenge is more specific. Okay? In other words, revenge, I will get my revenge. Okay?
More personal revenge?
Correct. It's specific to me. But I can avenge anything. I can avenge an injustice done to a bird or to another person or to my family. But if I avenge that, it can be called taking my revenge, right? But I can't revenge something, okay? In other words, one way to look at it is exactly here, and this is where we start to get into grammar, which I do not want you to get in. I want you to learn to use these words in the sentence so that you never have to think, gee, I wonder if I should use revenge or avenge here, because they are not interchangeable. Revenge is a noun, avenge is a verb. So they mean the same general thing, but they are not the same kind of word.
That's the same with life and live.
LIVE used as live and live.
Yeah, live.
Yes, that would be another example of the same, although that's a different example because now again you're using the same word used different ways. Just like the previous example, I forget what was the previous one, which was the same word used die, which was it die or another word where it's the same phoneme, right? That is used in for different meanings,
Yeah.
right? Now you don't have the same phoneme, but you have exactly the same word spelling, L-I-V-E, but it's two phonemes pronounced differently, live and live, and one of them is a verb and one of them is a noun. Yes.
Okay.
Thank you,
Perfect.
teacher.
Yes, you're welcome. Okay, everybody. Sorry, we ran a little long on finishing the podcast today, but hopefully everybody understood. I encourage you to listen to the podcast more, work in your SRS. New students, you'll learn what an SRS is. Who in the students besides Andres Felipe is not using an SRS, is not using Anki or SuperMemo? Who is not using a memory helper?
I'm ashamed to say that, but I am not using.
Okay, that's fine. What method are you using to get
I am
these words
ashamed to
into?
teacher. But I am going to use Anki. I am going to try it, okay?
Okay, I'm not trying to force you to. I'm trying to find other
No,
ways to
no.
help you.
But
if
I am
you
going.
Okay.
I am going because I don't use it. Maybe it can like me. I don't know.
Okay, maybe you will like it.
Yes.
It can never like you.
Okay.
Who else was
I
that?
like it. I like it.
Okay, maybe I will like it. Right. Okay, so we know Andres Felipe. Who was that? Was that Julian? Who was that? That is. Okay.
Teacher, but I am using the dictionary with English definition.
Very good. That's how you understand
I am using that, teacher.
Me too.
Very good.
Me too.
So now you see a word that you don't know.
Yes,
You
teacher,
look
I
it
am
up
doing that.
so you understand it, and also you don't just understand one definition, you understand its definition and its meaning in context, right? In the sentence. Good?
Yes, teacher, I'm writing the
I
definition in context.
download the word reference.
Right. Okay, so now my next question is, in this reading or in a podcast, you've looked up your if you're not using an SRS, you've looked up your word, you understand, you see the sentence. How are you getting that sentence into your brain so that you remember it after 1 month?
Trying to use it.
To read the again and listen again the podcast.
Okay, so you're going to listen and read the same podcast repeatedly again and again and
Yes,
again.
teacher.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
the thing
practice the word, the phrases in my notebooks every day.
Okay.
I have I have
Teacher.
the opportunity to
Sorry.
work.
Go ahead, Julian.
I have the opportunity to work with native speakers from different parts of the world. Australia, for that's what I'm saying, and I try to use it as much as I can. So I learned a new word, and in my meetings somehow I am using it.
Excellent.
Trying
Excellent idea.
First to, yeah, but trying to first to fix it in the conversation, so that I can remember and still using it, and if I use it the most, so I can remember. It.
Very good. All right. Yes, that is one of the ways that you, as we discussed, and as new students, you will see in the file that I sent out. You have to find a way to remember that word and remember that sentence so that you can use it in the future. And there are many ways to do that. Associate it with an image, with a picture, so that when you think of that picture, that sentence and that word comes to your mind. To personalize it, to think of something that is clear and is personal for you in your life. Right? Like something that your cat does or your dog does or your brother does or your parents, that you can make that word in a sentence that is relevant or that is important in your life so that you will always remember that sentence. Okay, good. Very good ideas. Very good ideas.
Oh, teacher, for example, I can remember the word when I say one picture of that.
Right. You can see so when you see the picture, one of the good things is when you see a photograph or you see a picture, the word and the sentence comes to your mind, right?
Yes, teacher.
Yeah.
Now, the negative side of that, just so we understand, is that in the real world, when you are speaking in a conversation, you do not have those pictures.
Yes.
Yes, I know, but I need to learn in phrases.
You know what, Valentino? This happened the same to me. I can understand if I listen a podcast or a TV show, I can understand every single word that those guys are saying. But when I'm gonna to speak, those words disappear. Yes, I can understand all the context, all the words. I can even write down all what they are speaking. But in a future conversation, when I want to express myself, I couldn't find that word, and somebody says like, that is that word. So I say, yes,
And
you're right.
and do you know why that is? Do you know what the problem is there? You understand, right, Julian?
Yeah.
Because just because you know the meaning, one meaning of that word from a dictionary, doesn't mean that you know how to use it in a sentence, right? And
sorry,
so,
but it happened to me the same.
Sorry, go ahead.
But it's happened to me the same.
Yes, it happens to everybody because that is not a good way to learn a word just to learn its meaning. You must learn its meaning in a sentence and then learn its meaning in more sentences where it has different meanings. For example, the word what was an example? Oh, L-I-V-E. You learn to use the word live and to use the word live because you find it in different contexts. And then when you need to make a sentence, you will think of a sentence that you know and you will change it to say what you want to say. If you try to make up the sentence from zero with just one word that you understand, it will not be a good result. Right, Julian? Have you tried that? You try because you inevitably, you always fall back to your native grammar that you understand, and you try to say in your mind, how would I say that in Spanish, and I'll change that to English. And right, it doesn't work.
Yeah, because you need to start to think in English, not to translate in your head. That's the problem, because you wanted to fix all the words you think of in English, translate it in English, and con- construct the build the sentence. What I'm
Right. And I
doing.
would generalize that a little more. I would say that so I have learned in my life now, this is my fourth language. I learned German first when I was in high school, and then I learned Russian in college. So I learned Russian for 5 years to a reasonable level where I could speak and understand, but mostly I could read because I had to read scientific information in Russian. So what I learned from that, and maybe many of you have experienced this same thing, it seems like we're thinking in a language, but we're not. We're thinking in something that is most closely resembles a universal language. In other words, we think of something that we want to say. Like I think in my mind that I want to say, I want to watch television, right? I have this urge, I want to go turn on the television, right? And if I know 5 languages, I could say that in 5 different structures and grammars and 5 different vocabularies, right? But what I think of is we have this monitor in our heads that constructs sentences for us to say, but it doesn't think in a language. It thinks in a more general structure, like, first of all, I want to do something, right? And you can represent that in any language. And then the situation that you're in drives what you want to say. So that, for example, I know what a train platform is. I think I may have used this example before, but I came back from Germany and I couldn't remember the word for a platform, like a train platform in Europe. And I couldn't remember in the US what the word was. I wanted to explain to somebody in English what a train platform was, and I couldn't think of what it was. It's not because I can't think in German or think in English or think in Russian. It's just a vocabulary problem. I know what that thing is, right? That's a platform that you wait for a train, right? And that is the same in any language, the concept, and that's what you think in. So think about that. What you want to do is you want to learn all these sentence structures and all the words that are in the sentences so that anytime you want to say something, you have a model sentence to use to say that thing. Okay? It's easier. German and English are easier because they're similar in their sentence structure. Vocabulary, very different, but very, very similar in the way that you use adverbs, adjectives, and verbs, order of words, all that. The words are very different, but the structure is the same. Spanish, very different. Russian, completely different.
Yeah. Teacher,
Yes.
do you know who Jim Quick is?
Who, sorry?
Jim Quick.
Jim Quick?
Yeah.
I do not.
No, is a person who talk about how we can improve our memory. And I've seen this kind of podcast, and it's useful because he have some advice to the language. Yeah, how we can
Yes.
remember
Yes.
everything, names. So I recommend this kind of podcast.
So is
Because
he,
yeah, I have the same problem.
does he use the memory palace?
Yeah.
Is he a memory palace guy?
What is palace?
Memory palace is you make images of things that you want to remember. Like say I need to remember to, I'm going to the store and I need to remember 5 things. Okay?
Yeah.
And I don't want to make a list, but I want to remember those 5 things. What I do is for a memory palace, I create a story in my mind that has those 5 things. So I have an image. Like Valentina was talking about. And so when you have an image of your mind, I imagine my cat, right? My cat's standing there holding a can of cat food. All right. And now I have to think of my cat. So I know my cat has a can of cat food, right? But I also know that I need toilet paper. So I think of the toilet paper roll as slipped over my cat's tail, spinning, right? So my cat is standing there with the cat food in his hand and toilet paper on his tail, right? That's a
Yeah,
memory
yeah.
palace. And you just construct this series of images that have everything that you want to remember. Is that what he suggests as memory palaces?
Yeah, yeah. It's exactly the same, teacher.
Okay. So that's a very good thing to remember specific sequences and specific lists. But in languages, we have to do a very, very different thing. So I don't think that's a bad idea to help you remember things, but I think that you can do better. I don't think that's the most efficient. Remember, what we're trying to do is find the best use of our time, right? You only have 10 hours a week or 5 hours a week or 20 hours a week. Or if you're like Valentina, you're rich, you don't have to worry about anything, and so you can spend 24 hours a day, well, 20 hours a day learning English and 4 hours a day sleeping. Okay, so you want to make the most of that time and have the most efficient use. So I think there are some specific reasons for using a memory palace, but I think it's difficult for to learn an entire language fluently using a memory palace. But you're right, it's a good for improving your memory. I agree.
Okay, thank you for the advice. I didn't know that. It's a good point, teacher. Thanks.
No, it's memory palaces are very good, and I use them many times, especially if I want to learn a certain set of material, right? Because and then once it's in there, it never goes out because that image is in your mind forever.
Yeah, yeah, it's really useful. Okay, teacher. Yeah, thank you.
Other questions, issues?
Yes, another question. Um, does the conversation club works in order to have the opportunity to speak, to use this word you're trying to memorize, you're trying to put in your language?
Yes, that's right. That's right. Different people have different opinions of conversation clubs. Some people believe that you can. Yeah, there are some language teachers that think you should start speaking immediately. That you should, even as a beginner, you should just talk, and be in conversation clubs, make lots of mistakes, and all that. I do not believe that that's a good idea. But I think a conversation club is a very good thing for advanced students like you guys, who can, especially if you're talking about a specific subject that you want to learn something about or that you want to express your opinion about. I think having a conversation club just to talk about about learning English or something where you need a group of people that want to talk about the same things and reach the same goal to have that be effective. So I think it's good to have a conversation club and talk about politics or say a specific subject that everybody wants to talk about and can share information, because now you have a subset of vocabulary, sentence structures, questions and answers that everybody can share, and you can make good progress. And if you make a mistake, you can fix it and remember the mistake that you made. So yeah, a very good idea.
Teacher, sorry, but what do
Everybody
you
want to
think in the next class we can start to communicate, to improve our English in this class conversation?
So this is specifically, I would say this is not specifically a conversation class, okay? Read through the conversation is a kind of output, right? It's how you output language that you know, right? So what I'm trying to do is improve the language that you know so that when you output, you do not make mistakes.
Okay, okay.
Okay,
Thank you.
so the way that we do that, and I'm sorry we didn't do a lot of that today because I wanted to finish the podcast, is we do a lot of what you're calling conversation, but I'm calling it structured output, where you use known sentences from the podcast to make statements, ask questions, and give answers that are grammatically correct, use the right words, and that will allow you to build a larger and larger and larger vocabulary and toolbox of words and sentences that you can use. So yes, next Tuesday, we will be back again, and we will be doing more speaking next Tuesday.
Thank you so much.
Yes. Other questions?
Teacher, the last one, sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, I would like know your daily routine to learn Spanish. Could you tell me?
Well, sure. I don't have a lot of time because I have another job, and I have 2 kids, and I have a dog.
Okay.
So I have about, I think my method would be different if I had 5 hours a day. But because my language time is maybe 1 hour to 90 minutes a day, I read, I watch specific video in Spanish, sometimes with Spanish subtitles, sometimes not. And I spend at least 30 minutes a day and sometimes more on Anki or I'm using Super Memo more now than I am Anki. I like Anki more because I can use it on my phone and I can use it anywhere that I am. If I'm sitting somewhere, if I'm at lunch at work, if I'm home just sitting in a chair, I can just bring up my phone and I can do Anki repetitions. But I like Super Memo better for the way that it's more efficient. I don't have to see the same words over and over and over again, because that's the problem with reading and listening to the same podcast repeatedly is you have a tendency to become bored with it. And so that's my problem, is I need interesting things because I'm an old man. So I need things that are interesting to me or I will not do them. So I am always looking for the new interesting thing. Like I told you on our text messages, I'm always looking for Colombian material, either written or video or movies by native Colombian speakers or South American speakers, Argentinian or Peruvian sometimes, by native speakers for native speakers. That's what I look for. And
Okay.
right now I have about 1,000 or 1,200 Anki cards, and I expect to, and that's another thing I do, is I spend about 20 minutes a day making cards. So I try to make that as efficient as possible. I try to make 10 to 15 cards every day. And then I start studying when Anki or Super Memo says that they are due for me to study, then it shows it to me. And then I tell it if I remembered it or not. And then it shows it to me again later if I did remember it, or sooner if I didn't remember it.
Okay, teacher, that's great. So you dedicate so many time to practice your in Anki, yep. I think I'm gonna try Anki, maybe, like Valentina said.
Yeah, well, try it, see if you like it. If you find something that you're interested in, it won't seem like work. I know as soon as I get bored, if I don't like the information, if it's not interesting to me, what I do is I just delete it. I throw it away, and I start something new. I don't
Okay,
want to
yeah,
be bored. If I don't like what I'm doing in Anki, I throw it away and I do something different.
yeah, I do the same. I love watch Friends. Do you know what Friends is? It's a
Yes.
series.
Yes. That's very good. That's a very good learning tool. Yes.
Yeah, but sometimes that kind of jokes really hard to understand.
Yes. Yes. Understood. Understood.
Teacher,
Okay. Yes. Another question.
I'm watching 2.5 Men.
Oh, that's a great show. I love that show.
Yeah, it's a good one.
You're going to, your vocabulary, you're going to be a very bad boy.
Yeah, I know. I've been searching like most of the words that they are because I put subtitles sometimes. It's kind of hard to know
Spanish or English?
English, all English.
Good. Good.
But
Yes.
it's really good. I like
Yeah,
it.
there is nothing wrong with using English subtitles if you're not understanding something to help you to make sure you understand the words that are being said. That's a very good idea. Yeah. And do you make flashcards, or how do you just watch and try to memorize?
Well, while I'm watching the iPad, okay, I'm writing on my cell phone and also have like a paper next to me. And when I
Okay.
don't understand that, I just wrote it.
Okay, and then how do you review that later so you remember it? If it's something you don't understand, you need to memorize it. So how do you take that information that you wrote on your iPod or on your paper, and how do you review that to memorize it?
Well, I have all those papers next to me right now, and I reviewed it like today. Like today, I don't see it, but tomorrow I will.
Good, very good. Yeah,
And there is another. Okay.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
There is another website that I could recommend for you guys. It's called Read Theory. It's a comprehension lecture. Yeah, it's very
How
good.
is the name?
Read Theory.
Could you
Yeah, yes,
write that, please?
I will write it.
Thanks.
Readtheory.com or
Yes.
.org or something?
Well, wait a minute.
Okay. All right, cool. Thank you.
.org.
Oh, .org.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yes.
Good. Readtheory.org.
Mm.
Very good. Thank you, sir. All right, everybody, have a good weekend. I will see the Matrix people tomorrow. Do you guys want to have a class tomorrow, Matrix people, or are you busy this weekend?
No, class.
Okay.
Teacher, I really want to have the class, but I think I can't, teacher.
Okay. All right. Are you going to go have a meeting with Agent Smith and turn us in to the agents, or are you one of us still?
Teacher, I'm gonna have a meeting
You're still a good guy?
with me at that time about English. They
Oh,
are
okay.
bilinguals, and I love talk with them. They
Oh,
have
good.
an incredible English.
Very good. Very good. All right. Well, have
Yeah, yeah.
fun. Have fun, and we will too. And everybody, I will see you tomorrow at 3 o'clock. Same link, but I will also send the link out if anybody needs it.
Thank you
Okay,
so much,
thank
teacher,
you.
for your time.
Okay,
Thank
remember
you.
See you
remember
tomorrow.
Tuesday, because Monday for this class, Monday is a holiday, so Tuesday, okay?
Teacher,
Okay.
sorry, I don't understand. Tomorrow we will have class?
Tomorrow we have a different class. We have a class on the movie The Matrix. Is that something that you would like to come to?
What time?
Yes.
3 o'clock, right? Sorry.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yes,
Give your
teacher.
number to Valentina.
The time is 3 o'clock Columbia time.
Okay.
Isn't that right? 3 o'clock? I think it's 1 o'clock my time, 3 o'clock your time.
Yeah,
Yes,
here in
it's
Peru, it's
okay.
like,
So
And
Caddy, you would
we,
like to come or no?
yes, yes, I will.
Okay,
Me
Maria,
too.
you want
yes,
to?
of course,
Okay,
teacher. The
Yes.
connection
so
is the same. We enter a Ciudad Bilingüe, or how is?
no, we do it slightly. Well, I don't know. Actually, I don't know. I have been sent. We're a smaller group, and so we've just been doing it independently. Maybe it's on the website. I don't know. But best for you to, if you would, let's see. Send me your. Do you both have WhatsApp?
Yes.
Send me on the group chat your WhatsApp numbers, and I will send you WhatsApp. I will send you a WhatsApp invitation to the group, and and I will send you the link. It's
Sorry,
a
where? Where?
It's a Zoom link.
Do you have a group of WhatsApp?
Do I have a group? What?
Do you have a WhatsApp group?
Yes.
I didn't know because I
Me
knew I
also.
started
I
this
didn't
week.
know.
It's a secret WhatsApp group because we're trying to avoid the government knowing about us. We're bad people.
No, we're the good guys.
Yeah, well, they think we're bad. They think we're
Yeah,
viruses.
sure. Yeah, you're right.
Okay,
So
so
we need to write the name, the number in this
hold on
here.
just a minute. So I'm looking at your numbers. Let's see. I see Cynthia sent me a number, right?
Yeah.
Hold on. What's the country code?
I send you mine.
What's the country code, Cynthia?
Peru. I'm
Yes, but
Peruvian.
is it +97?
Uh,
What is the country code? For example, Colombia +57, United States +1.
I
Or,
send you the
okay.
mine again.
okay,
I'm from Cali, Colombia, teacher.
you're Kali, and who is this?
Maria U.
Okay, Maria. Okay, so you're in Cali, so you're 300-482.
The code from Colombia is
6043.
plus
Okay.
757.
+57. Yeah, I've got
Teacher,
that.
where are you from?
Now you
United States,
public
What
in
city?
Phoenix, Arizona.
Okay. Do you live
Okay,
there?
I do, yes.
Okay.
I also sometimes I live in Pereira,
Uh,
but right now I don't. So Wendy, are you also Colombia?
Yes, mister. I am from Colombia.
Okay, so I've got your number 623-8608. Okay, now who else do I need? I have Carmen, right?
Yes.
Okay, hold on. 316.
Thank you.
Yes, 371. 7939.
Sorry, I just
Oh,
sent
hold
my
on.
number now.
Hold on. I'm going to stop broadcasting this on Facebook so all the men don't have all the pretty girls' numbers. Let's see. Caddy. Okay, so +51. Okay, +51. 997.
222.
99726. 2222.
Yes, it's right.
What country is this?
Peru.
Okay, so, and Walter, you're in the US?
No, teacher, I am in Colombia, but my WhatsApp is from Montreal. Okay.
Oh, Montreal. So
yeah, my WhatsApp is from there, but I am in Colombia.
okay, so you're +1 438 990 3215. Okay.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Good. That's an easy one. And then, Caddy, I've got you. Cynthia. Cynthia, I don't. Oh yeah, I do, but I didn't. Hold on. So Cynthia, you're +51. Okay. So both Cynthia and Kari are Peru.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
974. Okay. Andres Espinoza, right? Oops.
Yes, teacher.
Okay, hold on. I've lost track of somebody. Hold on, just a minute. 371. Oh my goodness. Sorry. Who is +57 316 371 7939? Who is that? Why did I write that down? Ah, that's Carmen. Okay. Let's see. And I have Wendy, and I have Maria, and I have Michael laughing at me, and I have Cynthia, and I have Maria Fernanda. +1.
Yeah.
806 9324. Okay. I think that I have everybody, except Andres Espinoza, +50. What country is that?
Panama City.
Panama City. So is it +5 or +50?
+507690741119.
Okay. +5076 907 4119. Okay, and that's Andres. Cool. All right. I think I have everybody. Hey, thank you everybody for